What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here with this week's episode of Stompbox Saturday, and rounding out the Keeley Month festivities, we have the brand new Compressor Plus from Robert and his team. You know, it's really hard to not think of Keeley Electronics and think of compressors. It was the first pedal that Robert developed and the pedal that started the company, outside of his mods, of course. But from the various different versions that we've had over the years, from the classic 2-knob all the way up to the newest Compressor Pro, the Compressor Plus is a very nice addition to the line and a nice continuation of that lineage. And the best part is, it's now at a lower price point, so that maybe you've never delved into pedals and you're not sure if you really want a compressor pedal. Here's a really good priced option that will allow you to explore whether or not you want one or not. So let's take a look at the controls on the pedal and see what exactly we're working with here. You have 4 knobs and a 2-way toggle switch. Your knobs are going to be sustain, which is going to set your compression ratio, blend, which allows you to go from full compression at the clockwise position, and then full counterclockwise gives you a 50-50 blend. No, you're not going to go all the way to no compression, because what good is a compression pedal that doesn't compress? The next knob you have is volume, which of course is going to set your output of the pedal. That really is nice when it comes to sort of gain staging and really making sure that you either get unity or you get a little bit of boost. And then there's the tone knob, which is a really nice feature because when you add a compressor into your signal, some circuits can darken the sound a little bit. If you're someone like me who plays typically dark sounding guitars through sort of dark amplifiers, you might want a little bit of that high end back in your signal. So you can go ahead and turn the tone knob and add a nice little sparkle on top. Then we have the 2-way switch, which you'll see is labeled single coil in the up position and humbucker in the down position. Now, that's really handy. You can match it to the different types of guitars, like a Les Paul or a Strat or a Telecaster or a Paul Reed Smith et al. Or the manual says that you can actually look at it as affecting the attack and the release time of the compression effect. So I think that both of those positions sound really good no matter the type of guitar you use. So we're going to experiment with turning the knobs, seeing what exactly we have to work with, and have a bit of fun compressing and squishing and squashing. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of squash to this thing. You can get everything from the extreme compression to a subtle compression effect. So now it's time to dial in some of my favorite compression sounds. This setting is something that I really like to use when I'm playing arpeggiated patterns. I find that it adds a nice bit of sustain so that those notes really ring out. And I've got a little bit of brightness to give it just a little bit of gloss on top. Now I'm really trying to keep the level even here, and I've kept the blend knob at 12 o'clock, which I guess you could theoretically call 75%, but what I find is that it's just a nice middle of the road, always on kind of compression. Now, normally, I'm not a guy who likes compression on top of distortion. You've already got a bunch of clipping going on. Why do you want more compression added to that? Distortion's already pretty compressed. But lucky for me, the Compressor Plus actually sounds great on top of some distortion, especially some high gain like I tend to prefer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with my main distorted sound first without the compressor on, and then we'll turn it on, and you'll see how it kind of brings everything together and tightens up the tone. Now, what good would a compressor pedal demo be if we didn't at least try to use a Telecaster to get that chicken picking kind of sound? And I've switched up to my Ramos Kev Star Deluxe, which, of course, you can tell is a custom Tele style. Now, there's something magical about using a compressor and a Telecaster guitar together. It just kind of breathes new life to the instrument and makes those chicken picking bends and licks a little bit easier. Now, I'm just going to try and play as best I can. I didn't grow up in Nashville. I didn't grow up practicing chicken picking, and I didn't grow up listening to country. But it's just too fun to pass up. On this last setting, I brought in my Ramos At Last custom, the Black Rider. And I did it for a very specific reason. This guitar comes with coil splits for both the neck and bridge pickup. Now, when I split coils on humbuckers, they sound terrible. They take away all the life and they take away all the volume. They just sound tinny and, well, for lack of a better term, bad. But thankfully, the Compressor Plus evens out the volume between the humbucker mode and the single coil mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little portion of a song that I'm working on, and I'm going to use the humbuckers first. Then I'm going to switch over to the coil split sound, and you'll see how the Compressor Plus, with the settings that I have right here, really evens things out and makes it so that those split coil humbuckers actually have some life to them. my friends, was the Compressor Plus from Keeley Electronics, a very welcome addition to the legacy of compressors that Keeley is famous for. I think it's a winner. It's definitely one of my favorite compressor pedals and is probably my favorite. The fact that I'm able to use it on a clean tone and a distorted tone, and that it brings life to the split coils on this guitar, that's pretty awesome. I've not found a compressor that really is able to do that. And it doesn't have a lot of the shortcomings of compressors either. Some just have this really apparent grabbing thing on the note where it's like, okay, I'm gonna hit the note, oh, I got you, and now I'm gonna pull you back. This one keeps up with every note that you put into it, and you don't get that weird artifact. So I am very happy to say that this compressor is a winner. But hey, I want to know what you guys thought. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the Compressor Plus, and be sure you click that subscribe button when you see it so you don't miss the next episode of Stompbox Saturday. Thanks so much for joining me for Keeley Month, and I really got to say a big thanks to Robert and Atlee and all the crew at Keeley Electronics for joining in the fun. And until next time, my friends, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, and I wish you all great tone and happy stomping. Cheers.